Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Impact7. Today, I'm going to be doing my Arsenal season review of the 2020-2021 season. I'm going to be splitting this review into multiple sections. The first will be, which we're about to get to shortly, will be Arsenal performance throughout the competitions that they're in. Then we will move on to the positives and negatives for Arsenal season. We'll go on to transfers, both in and out, the manager, and then my overall impressions. So let's jump right into it. First of all, Arsenal's performance throughout the season. Overall, it has been a terrible season for Arsenal, as far as I'm concerned. Their league position was 8th. They won 18 games, drew 7, lost 13, and have 61 points in total. Now, the fact that Arsenal almost have as many losses as they do wins, it's hard to believe, to be honest. It's really poor as far as I'm concerned from Arsenal. We've somehow wound up 1 point behind Tottenham. Not too sure how that happened, but even still, it's just not good enough. It's just not. 13 losses, double-digit losses in one season. That's incomprehensible. Arsenal should not be a team that loses double digits in any season. Any. In the league? Wow, man. That's a new low for Arsenal. That really is. In the FA Cup, we went as far as the 4th round, where we lost to Southampton. We lost 1-0. I think it was an own goal, if I'm not mistaken. What more can I say? The 4th round. The FA Cup has been a trophy which I think it's the trophy we've won the most at Arsenal. I think we hold the record. I think at one stage we won it like 3 out of the last 4 seasons. But it's just not good enough. 4th round, we didn't even get into the quarterfinals. The 4th round. So we basically got through one round, which was obviously the 3rd round, which is when top teams are supposed to join the FA Cup competition. So we won that, and then we got knocked out in our very next round. Terrible. Absolutely terrible. Then we move over to the Carabao Cup. Now, the Carabao Cup, we faced Man City in the quarterfinals. We lost 4-1. Now, there's no embarrassment to losing to Manchester City. Sorry. Granted, the way we performed was just, again, terrible. We at least could have shown some fight, but what more can I say, man? It's 4-1. Didn't expect to beat Man City, but I hoped that we would have some sort of performance against them. Nope. No, we didn't. Then we get to the really depressing one, which is Europa League, where we got to the semi-finals. Should have got to the finals, but semi-finals, where we lost to Villarreal 2-1 on aggregate, 2-1 in the first leg, 0-0 in the second leg. We couldn't score a goal. And that one really threw me for a loop. We basically lost the tie in the first leg, basically. And the thing for me was that I don't know what happened to the manager, and I get a bit more in depth when it comes to my thoughts about the manager later on when I'm talking about the manager. But it was mind-blowing to me. The tactics in particular, particularly in the first leg, made absolutely no sense to me whatsoever. None. But overall, it's just not good enough from Arsenal. 4th place, round 4 in the FA Cup, quarterfinals in the Carabao Cup, semi-finals in the Europa League, and 8th place in the Premier League. It's just not good enough. Just not good enough. That sounds to me, to be honest, what I've just mentioned, pretty much 8th place team, to be honest. With the way we've been playing over the past 2 or 3 seasons, we're not a top 4 team. We're exactly where we should be, 8th place, which is really, really depressing for me as an Arsenal fan. Now, let's get into the positives for Arsenal this season. And there really is I'm trying to think right now. Maybe 5 positives for Arsenal. Maybe. First of all, well, 5 players, I should say. 3 of them are the young trio: Saka, Emil Smith-Rowe, Martinelli. Those are the 3. They all saved Mikel Arteta's job. I believe they were all put into the team when we were playing against Chelsea, if I remember correctly. And they played extremely well. They had a bundle of energy. They worked extremely hard for the team. They put the Chelsea players under pressure wherever they were near them. And they ultimately played really well against Chelsea. If I remember correctly, I think we won that game. But I think Saka has been our player of the season. I think he played really, really well. Martinelli, whenever... I don't know what it is with the manager, but he seems to have something against Martinelli. Constantly, time after time after time after time after time, he'd be on the bench, and he'd start Willian. Have no idea why. And it would be on the occasion where whenever he would play, he would have some sort of impact on the result. Whether it be he's not being able to affect the ball itself when it comes to him having the ball and passing it or scoring, but he'd be working extremely hard to pressurize the players in front of him. To then they make a mistake, his teammates get the ball, and they're possibly able to create a chance, maybe even score. And then Emil Smith-Rowe, one of the things that Arsenal have been crying out for is someone who sits behind our main striker and who is able to not only work hard, which Ozil wasn't capable of doing when he was playing there, but also able to affect the play itself. And when he came in, he really did that. He was willing to work hard for the team, so add another person to pressurize the ball, but he was also willing to work back as well and help with defending whenever he was called upon to do so. And then the other 2 players, Partey, I think, was a very good signing for Arsenal. I think he's a very good addition to the team. When he first came, he barely lost the ball. He's able to find passes very, very well. He has the ability to slip the ball through for someone to run onto and possibly create a chance to score. He does need to work on his shooting, no doubt about that. Does need to work on his conditioning, because I think he's trying to get used to the speed and flow of the Premier League coming from La Liga, which is fair enough. It's his first season. I don't expect him to be quick into action, into the performances that are expected. But I thought he's had a decent season overall. And the last player is Tini. I think Tini is one of the best left backs in the world. He's extremely hardworking. He's young. I think he's at 24, 25. He works extremely hard for the team. He's very good on the ball. He's not afraid to run at the defender in front of him, beat them, cross the ball in, which is something that the person on the opposite side of the pitch, which I'll get to when it comes to my transfers, who just doesn't do. And so for me, those 5 were really the main positives for Arsenal. Saka, Emil Smith-Rowe, Martinelli, Partey, and you've got Tini. Another player I could add to that, but he's an Arsenal player, is Martin Odegaard. When he came in, he was able to add a bit more quality into the team. Not too sure whether Arsenal's going to be going for him to try and make it a permanent move, but I guess you could add Odegaard in there as well. Now we get to the negatives. Now, oh boy, this video, just sticking on the negatives, could possibly be 2 hours long, because there were a laundry list of negatives for Arsenal, but I'll try and condense it a bit. So we have inconsistency. Inconsistency for Arsenal is probably the worst thing for Arsenal. And what I mean by that is you can have a situation where Arsenal play against Chelsea, for example, or Tottenham. We're able to beat them, and then in a week later, we can go up against Burnley, or we could go against West Brom, and it's like we forget how to play football. We get absolutely dominated, and we end up losing. And you sit back and you're thinking, wait a minute, we played amazingly well against Chelsea, or against Tottenham. Yet we go up against a team that we should be beating, and we just don't show up. It's like we just woken out of bed. What is going on? It's mind-blowing to me. Furthermore, we make mistake after mistake after mistake after mistake. It gets to a point where you're wondering, do our players actually train how to defend? Do they? Because the amount of mistakes that they make is crazy. Prime example, Saka at Burnley. Oh my God. He's in his own area. He kicks the ball onto a Burnley player and the ball rebounds off the Burnley player into the goal. What? What was that? That is the antithesis of Arsenal. The most silliest mistakes you will ever see in your life. Then you have a player who has been pretty good for Arsenal over the time he's been at Arsenal. That's Leno. Leno has not had a good season. He's made quite a few mistakes, which is unfortunate. Because overall, I think he's a decent goalkeeper. Not a great goalkeeper, but a decent one. If we were able to get a decent replacement in for him, we should try and get him. But he needs to improve. He really does. Another negative for Arsenal, and this is something that is something that we as Arsenal fans can't really do anything about, and that is the owners. The Arsenal owners are holding Arsenal back. I'm trying to be nice here because I could use other words to describe them, but I don't think it would be appropriate. So the Arsenal owners are just not good enough. Now, am I saying that the Arsenal owners should be spending 200 million a season to improve the team? No, I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is that they should be far more involved in the day-to-day operations of the club than they are already. I do believe that they should be given not just the money that Arsenal generate from whatever revenue they're able to get, whether it be TV deals, whether it be from the fans or sponsorships or things like that. They should actually be putting their own money into the club to try and improve it. Furthermore, they should be involved in the day-to-day operations. Now, they should also try and get a more consistent dialogue with the fans. Now, I'm not saying the fans get everything right. I'm not saying that. But one of the main stakeholders of a football club are the fans. A football club is nothing without the fans. It just isn't. And so for me, they need to improve their communication with the fans. That is vitally important. Now, as I mentioned at the beginning of this section, talk about negatives. We need to improve massively. We see how Chelsea are improving. Obviously, they spent big under Lampard, and then they brought in Tuchel, I believe his name is, and he won the Champions League. Man City aren't going anywhere with Pep Guardiola. They're going to improve. They got rid of Aguero, who's just gone to Barcelona. So they're going to improve by getting a striker. They were able to go, 10, maybe 50, maybe even 20 games without a striker. They played with a false nine and they actually did quite well. So for me, Manchester United as well, they're iffy up and down, but if they are able to invest properly, if they're able to get Sancho, if they're able to get someone to partner up with Harry Maguire, if they're able to get a defensive midfielder, they'll be up there too. No doubt they'll be up there. Plus, obviously, the surprises: West Ham, Leicester City, whoever else you want to throw in there. Maybe Wolves once Raul Jimenez comes back. Tottenham as well, though it looks like Harry Kane's leaving, so you don't really need to mention them. Everton as well. So many different teams that can be challenging for top four. Arsenal need to be in that mix. They really do. Now let's get into transfers, both in and out. Let's go with the in first. Basuma, who plays at Brighton. We need him. Oh, yes, we need him. He's the type of player who would fit perfectly alongside Partey. He's someone who I think would complement Partey. Someone who would definitely shore up our midfield alongside Partey. He's not the quickest player, same to Partey, but what he is, he can keep the ball, he can pass the ball, he can dribble the ball, he can get the ball off of the opposition, and that's what we need. We need two solid players who are able to dominate the midfield, which we haven't had in a very long time, an extremely long time. Another one would be Lamptey, again from Brighton. I think he's a pretty good right back. He's obviously very young and he's got a lot to improve. But having him in our team, I think, would add to the capabilities of our team going forward. I think he's also quite decent defending as well. So I think overall he would be a very good replacement for Bellerin. And also he wouldn't be as expensive as some of the other right backs that we could go for. He probably costs less than 20, maybe 25 million max. So again, he'd be someone that I think would be useful. Now this one is a bit far-fetched because I think he's not only expensive, but also he's well sought after. And that is Koundé, who I believe plays for Sevilla. I think he would be a decent signing for Arsenal. I think he'd be a good partner for Gabriel. He's young as well. Maybe you could say having two young players as our main centre-backs would be an issue because they don't really have the experience. But I think having them grow together, I think they could become a very, very formidable centre-back partnership. So those are the three main transfer targets I hope Arsenal go for, in my opinion. Now let's go to the outs now. Easy one for me, Willian. Get in the bin. He's terrible. I don't know what it is with Willian, but Arteta has an obsession with the guy. The only two performances I remember him playing well, the very first match of the season against Fulham, which I believe he got an assist, which was our first goal, and then I think against West Brom near the end of the season where he scored that free kick. That was it. That was the only two times I remember him playing well, where he stood out. Other than that, he's been terrible. How on earth, whenever Arteta made changes, Willian would always be in the team? And yet I'd be screaming out, Martinelli is there on the bench. He's not injured. He works extremely hard. As far as I'm concerned, I prefer Martinelli over Willian, yet he played time and time and time and time again. I don't know whether it is that Willian's blackmailed Arteta or what, but it's mind-blowing to me. To me, it looked as if Arteta knew Willian was a bad signing, but he tried to give him opportunity after opportunity after opportunity to try and prove that he was a good signing. And he was not. And he was not. The fact that we're paying him as much money as we are, criminal. Absolute criminal. Whoever his agent is, Willian should make sure he gives him a bonus because he did a fantastic job in swindling the Arsenal representatives out of money because he doesn't deserve any of it. He's terrible. Absolutely terrible. Then we move over to Bellerin. Bellerin, when he first came to Arsenal, he was alright. He was okay. He was decent. All of a sudden, though, over the last 2 seasons, he's been horrible. We at Arsenal, we prefer our left and right backs, or sometimes when we play right wing backs or left wing backs, we need them to bomb forward, beat the defender in front of them, cross the ball in. One side does that, Teeny. The other side does not do that, even though he's supposed to be quick. He gets in front of the defender, and instead of trying to beat him, what he does is he stands there, waits maybe 5 seconds, which allows the defense of the opposition to get into position, and then he passes back. I'm like, wait a minute. You're supposed to be able to beat the man and cross the ball in. Now, not every time when you cross the ball in, it's going to go to your teammate, but at least you put it in the box so they have the opportunity to get it. Nope. Every single time, he doesn't do it. Furthermore, every single time when he's on the defense, he always gets caught out. Whenever the ball goes to his side, I instantly know whoever's next to him, they're going to beat him. They're going to beat him because he's never in position. So what use are you there on the right back position? None. Absolutely none. He needs to go. Now, I have no idea who would be silly enough to buy him, but he needs to go. He just needs to go. Xhaka, I've been hearing rumors, I've been hearing stories about how Jose Mourinho wants Xhaka at Roma. Take him. Take him. If it means we can get Basuma, oh yes, take him. I'd fly him to the airport myself if I have to. Just take him. If we could get 20 million, that'd be great. That'd be fabulous. Guendouzi. Now, Guendouzi, I think Guendouzi can become a very good player, but it seems as though he has an issue mentally when it comes to concentrating on football. Wherever he goes, he seems to have an issue with his manager. He's had an issue with Arteta. He's had an issue with the people he's with now on loan. I don't know what's going on with him. I really don't. He has the talent, but he just seems to not be focused on it. He just seems to like getting into arguments all the time. I don't know why. It looks as though he's not going to return. It looks as though he's going to be sold. I'm disappointed in that because I think he can be a very good player, but what more can he do? Lucas Torreira. Now, I want Lucas Torreira to be at Arsenal because I think he is a very good player. He is. He hasn't been very successful at Atletico Madrid. He hasn't played too many games, though. Him not playing in too many games, and yet I'm pretty sure he got the winner's medal for winning La Liga. He barely does anything, yet he wins a trophy. He's more successful at Atletico Madrid on loan than he has been at Arsenal. That's disturbing to say. It really is. But I would love him to stay at Arsenal, but it just seems as though his time is up. I kept on hearing how he's unsettled in England. He wants to move back home, which, hey, can't argue with that. It's fair enough. So those are the transfers that I'm hoping will happen, or possibly will happen. But let's get to the manager now. The manager, Mikel Arteta, is not good enough. I'm going to be as simple as that. He's just not good enough. He's been at Arsenal for 2 seasons now, and both times Arsenal finished 8th place. That's just not good enough. Just not good enough. Now, I don't know what it is with Arteta, but he likes to swap and change the team so much. Whether it be we play with right backs and left backs, we play with wing backs, we play with 3 up front, we play with 1 up front, we play 1 in behind the striker, we play with 3 in the midfield, we play with 2 in midfield, 5 in midfield, 4 in midfield. It's like 3 at back. It's like, please find a formation and stick with it, please. Then he seems to have his favourites. And what I mean by that is, he seems to have his favourites when it comes to Willian in particular. Why on earth he plays Willian, I have no earthly idea. And what he's got against Martinelli, I have no idea either. It's mind-boggling. Also, I forgot one player in the out for transfers. Saliba. He needs to go immediately. Oh my God. I honestly think he's trying to compete with Mertesacker to see who can turn the slowest. He is terrible. The only time he's even remotely good is when he has the ball and he has acres of space around him, where no one's around him, to where he can take a million hours to find the right pass. Other than that, he's terrible. Absolutely terrible. He can go to. But back to the manager. His decision making is not very good. Whether it be the teams he puts out, whether it be his tactics, what on earth possessed him to have a false 9 in the most important match of Arsenal's season in the European first leg, the Europa League first leg against Villarreal in the semi-finals? I couldn't figure it out. I couldn't. Arsenal have one of the least scoring midfields in the Premier League. Yet he thought it would be a good idea to have those exact same midfielders as the main focal point of our attack? Did he go partying the night before? Did he wake up and make that decision while he had a hangover? What is going on? How on earth did you think that was a good idea? It made no sense to me whatsoever. Absolutely none. You had Eddie Nketiah on the bench, and you had Gabriel Martinelli on the bench. Now, throughout the entirety of the season, I was calling for Martinelli to start. Now, when he did come in, as I mentioned, I think it was against Chelsea, along with Saka and along with Emile Smith-Rowe, he did extremely well. He played a couple games, and then unfortunately he got injured. After he got injured and he came back, people were constantly calling for Martinelli. I remember I was watching the pre-press conferences for each match that was coming up, and he would always be asked about Martinelli, and constantly, time after time after time after time, Arteta would talk about how he will get his opportunity, he will get his chance. And at one point, he talked about how Arteta and his coaching staff were working hard with Martinelli to try to improve him and turn him into a striker. Now, Gabriel Martinelli didn't want to become a striker. He wants to stay on the left side of the strike of the attack. So I'm thinking, okay, so Arteta has this plan for Martinelli where he wants him to become a striker, a central striker. Okay, fair enough. That makes sense. He has the pace, and we've seen against Chelsea where he scored that solo goal. He has the composure and he has the finishing to be able to do that. Fine. But yeah, here's this situation where you have him and Eddie Nketiah on the bench, and you don't play either of them. You play Pepe in that position. What? Absolutely no sense. And aside from the fact that we had a penalty and we scored it, that was it. So basically, we could have finished that match 2-0 down, which would have been game over anyway. I'm like, what are you doing? He must have confused the fact that he was the Arsenal manager and not still the assistant of Pep Guardiola. He must have forgot that he didn't have Kevin De Bruyne. He didn't have Gundogan, who I believe has scored I think he scored 20 goals this season for Man City. Gundogan by himself has scored more goals than the entirety of the Arsenal midfield combined. That's how scary it is. Man City have Gundogan, they have Bernardo Silva, they have Phil Foden, who I believe scored like 15 goals this season. They have Kevin De Bruyne, they have Mahrez, they have Sterling. They have all these amazing midfielders. Yet Arsenal thought that they could copy them? Just thinking about it's getting me irritated. This really is. Honestly, if I was the Arsenal owner and I watched the Europa League semi-finals, both legs, the very moment, and I do mean the very moment, the whistle blew and it was confirmed Arsenal were eliminated for the Europa League, I would immediately go to the Arsenal training ground, walk in there as if I own the place and I'm the Arsenal owner, so I do. Walk into Arteta's office, sit in his chair, put my feet up on his table, call him into his office, and ask him, you have 3 minutes. You have 3 minutes to explain to me what the hell you're doing. How is it you can play with a false 9 in one of the biggest matches of Arsenal's season, in the Europa League semi-finals? How is it you can have as many losses as you do points, as you do wins? How is it you thought in your infinite wisdom you would sign Willian, yet one of your biggest rivals in Chelsea decided to let him go? How does that make sense? How does that make sense? You have a player in Martinelli who's chomping at the bit to play, yet you constantly don't play him in the place of Willian. What are you doing? You have 3 minutes. And I guarantee you he would not be able to explain himself. And as a result, he'd be packing his bags and he'd be gone. I would fire Arteta for his horrible performance as Arsenal manager. He's just not good at all. He is terrible. Now, he has some good performances. But for me, he's just not good enough as a manager. Arsenal needs someone who has experience, who has technicals, he has technical genius in him. Someone who is willing to put his faith in the young players, but also able to motivate our players into performing even better than what we thought they would. Like Leicester City. No, none other than Leicester City fans, no one thinks Leicester City should be in the top 4. Yet they are. I think they've been in there for the past 2 seasons, which is very well done. Plus, they've won the Premier League title. Who thought they would win the Premier League title that season? No one. Yet they were able to perform above and beyond what everyone thought they would. Why? They're very good as a team. They have very good chemistry. They work extremely hard for the manager. And the manager is able to put them in situations where they can better perform as a team. Arteta can do none of those things. None. Now, my overall impressions, my final thoughts. It looks to me as if Arteta's staying for another season. Unfortunately, I don't see anything changing as it relates to Arsenal's fortunes. I don't see anything changing. I think Arteta's not a good manager. I think the players are slowly but surely losing faith in him, and he's not going to be able to motivate them to the point where we can improve on the position that we have. Not to mention, we need some signings. Now, I've already been seeing Liverpool making moves already, and the season's only just finished. Yet Arsenal, they like to wait until the very last minute to do their business, which is really frustrating. I would prefer Arsenal to go into the transfer market as early as possible, get the players that we need, so they can have time to integrate into the team, and Arteta can find out precisely what he's got, and obviously work to make sure they integrate into the team as quickly as possible, and we can use them. It's Arsenal have a lot to do. They really, really do. I think Arsenal. Honestly, I could see Arsenal having a similar season to what they had this season. Sprinkled there and about would be some nice wins. Maybe against Man United, maybe against Chelsea. But overall, what does it matter? I think we'll go another season trophyless, another season of frustration, another season of heartache, of disappointment, another season of mistakes. Overall, I think we're pretty much in for the same old at Arsenal. For the past 2 seasons in particular. It's kind of depressing, to be honest. I've said this multiple times on my live streams. Arsenal are probably the most frustrating team to support because you can see the potential of Arsenal. You can see it. But time and time again, they don't meet expectations. They just don't. So those are my thoughts on Arsenal. Please do let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thank you all for watching. This video is just over half an hour long, so I think that's pretty good. Thank goodness I condensed my thoughts, otherwise this could have been an hour long. But thank you very much for watching. Hopefully I see you all again tomorrow. Thank you very much for watching. If you want to keep up to date with my latest information, please follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Discord. Links all for you as usual are in the description box down below. Aside from that, please don't forget to hit that like button, share, comment, and subscribe. Thank you very much for watching. Hope to see you again tomorrow for my next live stream, which would be, I believe it's Rocket League. I think it's Rocket League. Thank you very much for watching. Have a good day, everyone. See you again tomorrow. Laters.